When discussing companion animals or just pets in general, it's always fascinated me. Now, to me, when I think of pets and companion animals, typically dogs and cats first arise in my head. That's what I typically first think of when I hear those words. Now, the reason why this fascinates me is because when we look at the first instances of domestication of these animals, they had a reason, and that reason was largely different from the reason why we have companion animals today. Now, we believe we domesticated dogs to kind of help hunt and for protection. And we believe we domesticated cats because cats were natural kind of rodent killers, and they helped kill a bunch of rodents, which in turn helped their food supply. Because without that natural rodent extinction, not extinction, extermination, those rodents would keep getting in the food supply and create a lot of problems. Now, when we talk about dogs and cats nowadays, many there are many uses that come with them, and that typically are shown when you have pets like those. Some include just help with mental health, also service animals, and just increasing the quality of life for the individual who owns said animal. So we first started off with it kind of having a purpose, and that is to help survival. And now, I do believe it kind of still does that. However, not to the degree. Of course, my dog that I currently have, I have two dogs. They're not gonna go and hunt, bison or elk or any of that stuff. They're not gonna go and do that. They might hunt a squirrel, and I'm the one that's usually having to pick up after that, and I'm not the biggest fan of that. But it's just their natural instincts. But they're not gonna go hunt and serve the same uses as they once did. However, I would argue that they do help with survival. Because at the end of the day, everyone's main goal, humans, animals, all this stuff, is to survive another day, and to reproduce. That's usually the goal in life, to survive and reproduce. Humans have gotten to a point where we don't really have natural predators other than ourselves, but we don't really have natural predators. We have fatalities from other animals. Like, sure, we have about 500 deaths a year due to hippos, 200 due to crocodiles, all this. Yeah, sure, we have those, but it's not to the extent where we're having to, everywhere we go, keeping an eye over our shoulders, living in an extreme case of fear. But humans suffer from a predator of a different nature, that being depression and mental health issues. I could argue that that is just as deadly, if not deadlier, based purely on statistics, because so many more people die to depression rather than animals. With maybe an exception to like mosquitoes, but that's just because it's through viruses and that stuff. But depression is something that seriously hampers a lot of people's efforts to survive. It's not easy. It's really not. It's very challenging, and like I said, it can really kind of try and stop you from surviving. But that's where dogs and cats come in. They help alleviate those issues, and thus, from what I believe, helps you survive longer. well, not survive longer, but helps increase the chance of survival. So it still does help survive. Um, Now, of course, I can speak on my own experience. I have two dogs, and I love them so much. They're I miss them. I haven't seen them in a while, and I really miss them. And to show how much I care about them, I have a picture of them on my desk, a frame picture of them, and I even have my dog on my phone case. I don't have my favorite movie or my favorite artist or even my family members or even an important person on my phone case. I have my dog. I have my dog. It shows how much I care about them and how much of an impact they've made on me. But, I believe there's many times where they've helped me with depression and they've helped me with my quality of life. And I think dogs are something else. And same goes to cats. I have a buddy who's loves cats, always grown up with cats, and he's just got a new kitten and he's just fallen in love with it. There's something magical about that. And it's always good to talk about those good stories of, you know, things weren't so good, but then my dog came in or my kitten came in, turned my life upside down. Now, unfortunately, dogs and cats do a lot for us. But at times, I don't believe we do a lot for them. It's unfortunate. We put through dogs through puppy mills. And a lot of people abuse dogs and cats, and fortunately, a lot of dogs and cats go to the shelter, especially when they aren't wanted, or if it's not the perfect pet, if any of that stuff. I remember there was this one pet who was a puppy who was too energetic, and they had to put it back in the shelter. You got a puppy. Of course it's gonna be energetic. What are you thinking? I digress. But a lot of these animals are put in a foreign environment that they're just scared. And I want a happy ending for all of them. I love that more than anything. But that's unfortunately not the case. I actually believe there's almost like a stigma around adopting dogs and going to the shelter, because some people view it as the dogs that no one wanted, and they'd rather get a fresh puppy. But they're doing that. We're dooming all of these dogs to, well, I hate for me to say it, but to death. After a certain time limit, if the dogs and cats do not get adopted, they get euthanized. And they die. It's heartbreaking. It really is. To see these animals that have done so much for us. So much for myself. Just nothing we can do. Gotta put it down. It's unfortunate. Especially for how much, like I said, these animals play an important role in our mental health and with people with disabilities, for service dogs, service animals. They play such a valuable role and such a valuable resource. They help fight against one of the the biggest threat to mankind, that being ourselves, and depression and all of that. And again, it's unfortunate that we're showing our reverence for this by putting down so many dogs because we're too picky. But maybe it's just the optimist side of me speaking, but maybe that'll change. Be nice if that change. And I hope it will. But I'm no future fortune teller. I can only remain positively optimistic, but I can't guarantee the future. But I could sure as heck work for that future. And that's what I plan to do.